Hello students, welcome to this English class. Today we shall discuss certain grammatical ideas that are very much relevant to you and that are there in your syllabus. We are going to do the passive forms of sentences. You know that we can speak or write English sentences in two different ways, either active form or passive form. And when we change the active sentences into their passive forms, we need certain rules and regulations that were the prerequisites of the transformation of sentences. So, changing sentences from active to passive, and we require different aspects like subject, verb, object. Second, we also need the application of a tense rule. Tense is very important, subject, verb, object very important. The verb must be a transitive one, because it should carry an object which becomes the subject of the passive form. And today, now we are going to discuss the passive forms of interrogative sentences. In English, we have different kinds of sentences. We have affirmative sentence, we have negative sentence, we have interrogative sentence. So, we have already discussed the affirmative and negative sentences in present tense and past tense forms, and we have learned how the active sentences can be made passive. And now come to the interrogative sentences. What is interrogative? Interrogate. Interrogate means ask. Interrogate means ask questions. So, interrogative means sentences that ask you questions. Can you do this work? This is an interrogative question sentence. When did you come? It is an interrogative sentence. Why do you go there? Interrogative sentence. Will you help me? Interrogative sentence. So, we have these are called interrogative sentences, but we are now going to do something about the passive voice of interrogative sentences, and we have to talk of certain sentences, interrogative sentences, in which there should be subject, there should be subject, verb and object. These three things are required: subject, verb and object. These three things are required, and even in the interrogative sentences we need these things. And interrogative sentences, you know, are of two kinds, because we ask questions. In interrogative means we ask questions, and we can ask questions in two different ways. The first one is yes no question. We have yes no question. Second is called WH yes no question or WH question. Yes no question means sentences to which the answer is either yes or no. The answer can be either yes or no. If you ask such a question, this is called a yes no question sentence. And now take a sentence of yes no question sentence and see how it is transformed. For example, can you make kites? When we transform such sentences, active sentences into the passive forms, can you make kites? You see, the answer is either yes or no. Yes, I can make kites. No, I can't make kites. Can you make kites? Yes, I can make kites. No, I can't make kites. So, the answer is either yes or no. Therefore, this is called a yes no question sentence. When we transform such a sentence, we have to follow some stages. Stage 1. When we follow the stage 1, it is first stage 1, make it a statement. Make it a statement. Second, stage 2, make it passive. Stage 3, bring the auxiliary verb to the beginning. Auxiliary verb to the beginning of the sentence. This becomes the passive form. This is very easy to follow and understand how the active sentences can be made passive. The first stage is make it a statement. Can you make kites? It is a question sentence, and because the auxiliary verb is here in the beginning, can. If you shift it where? Here. You see, the sentence is you can make kites, and it becomes a statement. Question mark goes. You can make kites. Now it becomes a statement. Make the sentence statement. Now come to the stage 2. Now we make it passive. The passive is sorry. By agent. He can make kites, or you can make kites. Kites can be made by you. The third is bring the auxiliary verb to the beginning. It becomes the passive form of yes no question sentence. Can kites be made by you? If the sentence is like that. So, if you take any other sentence like this, will she help the boy? Now make the sentence statement. The sentence will be she will, because will will go here. She will help the boy with the statement. Now make it passive. The boy will be helped by her. The boy will be helped by her, and again bring the auxiliary verb to the beginning, will to the beginning. Will the boy be helped by her? Will the boy be helped by her? this becomes the passive form of yes no question sentences. So, this will be very easy for you to understand and transform the sentence into the passive form if you follow these 3 stages. First, make the sentence a statement. In the second stage, make the sentence passive. Third is bring the auxiliary verb to the beginning. Now, it becomes the transformation of active sentence into its passive form. Next thing you see, the next sentence is double S type sentence. Yes no questions answer to the answer to these questions is either yes or no, but what about the WH question sentences? The WH type sentences carry WH words. WH words like what, when, where, why, etc. How? So, these are called WH word sentences. That is, we use a WH word at the beginning of the sentence, and such sentences are also called information words. Such words are also called WH words are also called information words. You see WH words. WH words are why, where, who, when, how, etc. So, these are called WH because they start with WH, 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 WH. These are called WH word sentences, and these, when these words are there, we call the sentence, these words are called information words. These are called information words. WH words are called information words. Why do we call them information words? They are called information words because when we use such words, we need information. The answer is not either yes or no. If you say when did you come? Can you say yes? Can the answer be yes or no? No. Where did you go? Is the answer yes or no? No, because we need some information here. The answer is neither yes nor no. We need some information for that. Therefore, these words are called information words, and these word sentences are also called information sentences. And therefore, these things are very important for transformation WH word sentences. So, WH sentences are made passive, and there are certain rules and regulations for that. When we transform the sentences, the yes no type sentences, we come across certain rules. Again, some stages you can say, as it happens in the yes no question. Now, we can take WH sentences and make them passive. When do you make kites? When do you make kites? You know, this is a WH word sentence. It needs some information. So, when we transform some certain such sentences, we follow certain stages. We have an extra stage for this. We follow the principles of yes no question sentences, but one extra stage is required for this. The first stage is remove the WH word, remove this word. Remove. You see, now think that there is no WH word. Let us see there is no WH word. When you remove this WH word, what happens? It becomes a yes no question now. Do you make kites? It becomes a yes no question now. When a WH word is removed, it becomes a yes no question. Do you make kites? Now follow the applications, follow the stages required for yes no question. And when we make such sentences passive, yes no question formula is followed hereafter. And these two interrogative sentence forms are very important for transformation of sentences, and it is yes no type sentence is done, and WH, when WH type is done, remove WH word, then you follow the yes no pattern sentences. Thank you. Yes, students, we have discussed the interrogative sentences in which the WH type sentences and the yes no question sentences are made passive, and we have discussed these things at length. And here now come to the different tense forms of yes no question sentences, tense forms of different tense forms in different sentences. It is now how the sentences are made passive. The sentence first one is, do you cook your meals? Present tense. Do you cook your meals? Yes no question, and this is in present tense, and it is natural. We have already taken certain sentences and made them passive, and how they are made passive. We have discussed these things in details, and it becomes a statement first. Do you cook your meals? The first stage is you cook your meals. It becomes a statement. Then your meals are cooked by you, passive. Now bring the verb to the beginning. Are your meals cooked by you? So it becomes the passive form of this present tense form. And did she help her friends? It is past tense. Did she help her friends? When it becomes a statement, it becomes did she help, means she helped. She helped her friends, statement. Now make it passive. Her friends were helped by her. Bring the auxiliary verb to the beginning. Were she helped by, where? So she helped her friends. Her friends were helped by her. Then bring the verb to the beginning. Where? Where are her friends helped by her? And now come to, have they finished their work? Have they finished their work? What is the form here? Have they finished their work? So what would the stage one is? Make it a statement. They have finished their work. Make it passive. Their work has been finished by them. Now again bring the verb to the beginning. Has. Has their work been finished by them? It is the. So we take different tenses. We take present tense forms and past tense forms in yes no question sentences to make them passive. Now come to see how WH word type sentences are transformed into passive WH type words. They are transformed in their passive forms, and so far as the tense rule is concerned, we apply the tense rules for that. let us now see take sentences. This is a WHO type, it is a past tense, because did is there. When did they finish their work? Now, make it a state, remove when first, WH word. Now, did they finish their work? It becomes a yes no question sentence. Next stage is they finished their work statement. Then come to the next stage, their work was finished by them, past tense, because it is in past tense. Their work was finished by them. Again bring the verb to the beginning. Was the work, was their work finished by them? Use when again. When was their work finished by them? Use it again, because we have removed it, and now it becomes the past tense form transformation, and we use present tense and past tense forms in their question sentences, that is interrogative sentences, to make them passive. Okay. Another important kind of sentence is imperative sentence. Imperative sentence, we did affirmative, negative, interrogative. Then another is imperative kind of sentence, imperatives. Imperatives. So, what are imperative sentences? Request, request, order, command. A sentence which tells you, which gives you, I mean, in which you can make a request, a sentence in which you can pass orders, or a sentence in which you can pass commands, give commands. Such sentences are called imperative sentences. Examples: shut the door, shut the door. This is an imperative sentence, because this is a sentence in which you can order somebody, you can request somebody. So, shut the door, you can order somebody to shut the door for you, shut the window for you. So, when we say such a sentence, imperative sentence, here we have request or order or command. So, shut the door, when we make such sentences, the form is let plus object plus be plus V3 plus, okay, let plus object plus be plus V3. So, use let first, shut the door means let the door, let then object the door, then be, use be here, let the door be, then past third form of the verb, past participle form of the verb. So, shut, shut, shut. So, it should be let the door be shut. Shut the door, let the door be shut. This is the passive form. Open the window, let the window be open. Help the boy, let the boy be helped. Shoot the bird, let the bird be shot. Third form of shoot, shut, shut, the third form of the verb. So, we use this form in imperative form of sentences, in which we can make or we can make requests, we can make command, we can order somebody. So, in such cases we make such sentences passive by using let. So, the form is let plus object plus be plus verb 3. Now, discuss the passive forms of different kinds of sentences. Previously, we have dealt with the affirmative sentences, the negative sentences, the question sentences and the imperative forms of sentences, and we have taken them one by one and transformed them into their passive counterparts. Let us again discuss the sentences in which we do not need any by agent. We usually use by agent in sentences. So far, we have taken certain sentences in which we use by agents in the passive forms, but now we are going to discuss certain sentences in which by agent is not required. So, we usually use by agents in sentences, but where by agent is not required, it is optional. You may use it, you may not use it. There are certain cases in which we do not require any by agents, we do not require any by agents, not required. For example, we speak a sentence, the police arrested the thief. You see, so the police arrested the thief. This is a statement in affirmative form, and the sentence is in past tense form. The sentence is in past tense form. So, when we make such sentence passive, the form is object plus be past plus third form of the verb plus by agent. We write that like this, and when we make the passive form, you see the thief was arrested, because here by police is not required. Who arrests? Police arrests. When the word arrest comes, the police is by the police is not required. The thief was arrested means that is enough. The thief was arrested, because usually the work arrest is done by the policeman, by the police. Therefore, we need not write that. The police arrested the thief, the passive form, the thief was arrested, and by police is not required, by agent is not required, and here no by agent not required. And like this we can also take some other sentences, and you see how it is, how we do not need any by agents. The government built a bridge across the river. And when you see it is in past tense form, subject, verb, object, this is additional, extra. Now make it passive, and when we make it passive, the form is a bridge was built across the river and by government is not required. By government is not required. Therefore, here by agent is not required. Now, come to another kind of sentence in which we do not use certain such forms. People believe or say that he is a thief. How to make the passive form of such sentence? People believe that he is a thief. You see, two sentences are here, they have become one. People believe he is one, this is that is here conjunction, he is a thief, it is another sentence, and with two sentences are actually here, but it is one sentence. So, people believe that he is a thief, and when we make such sentences passive, we can passivize them like this. The first is, it is believed that he is a thief, no by agent required. It is believed that he is a thief, or in the other way you can say he is believed to be a thief. In two ways we can do it, and without making any without using any by agent. By agent is not required. He is believed to be a thief, he is, or it is believed that he is a thief. So, in such cases we do not use any by agents while transforming such active sentences into their passive forms. Now, come to the primary auxiliaries. How we transform the primary auxiliaries? There are certain primary auxiliaries, you know. Before going to the auxiliary or primary auxiliaries, I would like to discuss something about the auxiliaries. And you see, a verb can be divided into two. One is main verb, the other is main verb, auxiliary verb or helping verb. So, main verb, what is a main verb? Main verb is one which has meaning of its own. It can depend on its own, it is independent, it never depend on any other word to give its meaning, it is meaningful itself. This is called main verb. What is an auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb means another name is helping verb. What is a helping verb? Helping verb means a verb that helps the main verb in the sentences. Its work is, its function is only to help the main verb in making different like question sentences or negative sentences, or in such context we use such I mean forms, and therefore, we have main verb as well as auxiliary verb. So, main verb is self dependent, independent, but auxiliary verb is not independent. Auxiliary verb is of two types, one is primary auxiliary, the other is modals, and here we shall discuss the modals, and we have already discussed these things. Welcome students, we discussed the passive forms of different active sentences, and now we have to continue the primary auxiliaries which we have discussed very shortly. The primary auxiliaries are the kinds of auxiliaries which can be used as the main verbs as well as the auxiliary verbs. They can be used as main verbs, they can also used as auxiliary verbs. They are called primary auxiliaries, but the modals cannot be used as the main verbs. The modals can be used as auxiliary verbs only, and here we have primary auxiliaries. Primary auxiliaries means the verbs which can be used as main verbs as well as auxiliary verbs. So, who are the verbs? Which are the verbs? We have these verbs which can be used, which are called primary auxiliaries. We have be verbs, have verbs and do verbs. These are called primary auxiliaries. These are called primary auxiliaries because they can be used as main verbs as well as auxiliary verbs, and the be verbs are is, am, are, was, were, been, and have verbs are have, has, had, and do verbs are do, does, did. So, be verbs are is, am, are, was, were, been. Have verbs are have, has and had. Do verbs are do, does and did. These verbs are called primary auxiliaries because they can be used as main verbs, they can also be used as auxiliary verbs. For example, be verbs, he is a doctor. Here is the main verb because that is the only verb. When there is only one verb in the sentence, that must be the main verb. The main verb must be meaningful itself. Only one verb means main verb. More than one verb means one main verb and other auxiliary verbs may be there. Okay. So, here main verb be, and here you can make it auxiliary. He is writing. Here write is main verb and is auxiliary. In the same way, we can use am. I am a student, I am a teacher, I am a farmer. So, we can say am is used as the main verb here because this is the only verb in the sentence, therefore, it is the main verb. I am teaching, I am speaking. So, here it is auxiliary verb. So, these are the verbs, and have verbs. Have, I have a house, main verb. I have taken a lot of pains. So, it is have taken, here take is main verb and have is auxiliary verb. In the same way, has and had are also, they can be used as main verbs and auxiliary verbs, therefore, they are primary auxiliaries. Do, does, did. Do, I do my work, main verb. I do not do my work. First do is auxiliary verb, second do is main verb. So, we use does and did in the same way. So, they are called auxiliary verbs. And when, now let us come to the next kind of auxiliaries. Now, come to prepositional phrases. If there are prepositional phrases in sentences, sometimes we can also come back as sentences having prepositional phrases, the verb may have a preposition with it, and when the verb has a preposition with it, we can call it a prepositional verb. And while we take a prepositional verb or a sentence which is a preposition, let us see how it is transformed into the passive forms. He laughed at the beggar. You see, it is a subject, past tense verb, at is a preposition, and the beggar is object. S this is a verb phrase, and this is object. SVO form, subject verb object. Now make it passive. It is a past tense, and when we make it passive, the beggar, it is past tense, therefore the beggar was laughed, then at. He laughed at the beggar was laughed at by him. You see, it retains the preposition. As it was there, it is also here. He laughed at the beggar was laughed, then you have to write at. You cannot say only the beggar laughed by him. No, you have to say, you have to use at here again. The at should be used. This is called prepositional phrases. Now come to there are certain restrictions. You see, there are certain restrictions, because we cannot make all sentences passive. We can't make all sentences passive. If you have which sentence, what kind of sentences can't be made passive? Because we have already discussed these things. When now we are going to sum up the things for your recapitulation of the matter. Let us now recapitulate the ideas, and there are certain restrictions fixed with the passivization rules. So, the first thing is the kind of things that cannot be made passive. The first is intransitive verbs. If the verbs are intransitive, verb I means verb intransitive. If the verb is intransitive, the passive is no, restriction is there. With other verbs also, for example, look, and another verb appear, another verb resemble, another verb lack, verb have or has and had. When we have such things, such verbs are not made passive in such contexts like this. For example, he resembles his father. Resembles looks, he takes after his father, he looks like his father. He resembles his father, and you see, he subject, resembles verb, it answers to question whom, and here resembles is the verb is here, you cannot make it passive, no. You cannot make it passive. All have is there, we do not make it passive. Lack, he lacks common sense. He lacks common sense. We can't say common sense is lacked by him. No, we can't make passive, because this verb cannot be made passive. He lacks common sense. We can make it passive. So, such things are there, and we cannot usually make these sentences passive. You see, let us now sum up with some more sentences, 1 or 2 sentences, to recap the ideas of the passive forms. Let us take a WH word sentence like this. Who broke the dinner plates? When we make such sentences passive with who, it can be made passive in 2 ways. First is by whom were the dinner plates broken, or another form, by whom were the dinner plates broken, one possible. Another is who were the dinner plates broken by, who were the dinner plates broken by. If you use who, by is used at the end. If you use by whom, by agent is not required here at the end. And therefore, such sentences, some more sentences can be there like this also. Who stole the watch? Who stole the watch? The sentence can be this like this. Here, as I told you, by whom was the watch stolen, or who was the watch stolen by? It can be in 2 forms, and this is very important, which we usually use, and such questions are also asked several times in different examinations, and therefore, the students, you should take care of such sentences, particularly the kind of sentences I tell you now, using who or using by whom, and option is with you. You can use either by whom or you can use by with who. So, these things are required for transformation, and sentences are taken. You can take any sentence and make them passive, and you should take care of these rules that I told you, that we discussed here in this class. The rules and the regulations that are stipulated for transformation of sentences from active to passive, and active and passive sentences are spoken and written in different contexts as we come across in different situations, and these sentences have to be taken care of in speech and writing. And dear students, you should take care of and you have to use these sentences accordingly. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for patient listening.